Hello everyone, welcome to some post-commentary hijinks. That's right, yesterday I recorded this episode and then contrived to accidentally delete the commentary track, but I don't want to waste the rest of Recurry the Knight's adventure. So, here we are, doing some post-commentary first thing in the morning before I go to my day job. So if I start babbling incoherently or hacking up a lung like a Hollywood representation of a hobo, then that's because I'm not good with mornings. So we were grabbing a load of potions at this point, and fortunately I don't really remember what happened when I recorded this last night, so hopefully it'll be almost as new to me, as it will to you. See, I haven't even managed coherence in the first minute of this video. Alright, we're grabbing some stuff. Oh yeah, that's right, I was going dual wield. I'd almost forgotten that. Short sword and dagger, I believe. I was quite cross there because my dog drank the potion before I could pick it up. What sort of dog does that? Just walks up and drinks potions off the ground. Got teleported, but it was only one floor down, so it's not a big deal. Didn't have to bust open that chest because I'm carrying a skeleton key that I always forget I have. Bat isn't a big deal. We actually got to upgrade our sword skill again there, so that's nice. I'm not entirely sure what advantage that bestows upon you. I would guess either more damage or more accuracy, if not both. So, it's worthwhile at least. Pick up a curved sword here, no idea what it is, but I decide to pick it up so I can dip it in this fountain. So here we give that a go. Go on, find the curved sword, Alan. You can do it. There we go. Water nymph grabs it! So I run after her, chase her down, and she gets caught against the bat, and I stab her in the buttocks until she dies. I get to upgrade my dagger skills here, and I realise that she's actually robbed me not only of the curved sword that I dipped, but of the one I was wielding as well, so I'm down to just my left-hand dagger. But seriously, if you didn't think that was funny, wind it back and watch it again. I stand there repeatedly stabbing her in the ass until she dies. But luckily she got caught against that bat that was trapping her from the other side. I didn't even realise that was a thing that would happen. But there you go. So I try equipping the curved sword here. And it turns out to be the Blessed Graze Wanderer. I don't think I've encountered a named weapon in this before. Or at least, I think I've seen one once in my identified inventory after the character died, but I didn't get to use it during the game, if I'm remembering correctly. So here I have this fancy glowing sword. I don't know what special properties it has, I just know that it looks pretty awesome. Unfortunately, this proves to be a little tricky. You need more skill with backswords to use it properly, so I decide in the interests of effective combat, I'm going to have to unequip it and go back to my previous short sword, but it gets wrongly equipped into my left hand, so I have to equip my weapons one at a time. Short sword first, wasting a turn or two doing so, and then the dagger afterwards. So now we're basically back to where we were before, except that we're carrying a really awesome sword that we can't actually use. Try out the potion in the hope that it's a healing potion, and it is! Lucky break. Don't get many of those in WazHack, as I'm sure you're aware. Another fountain there. I think I decided to dip an axe in it this time. I'm assuming that it's not going to be another water nymph fountain, but if it is, I hope that she'll be trapped between me and the end of the corridor there, rather than appearing right behind me. So I'm willing to risk it. So I dip the axe, and nothing happens. So I drink it, taking a bet that it'll be a hallucination fountain, and am I right? Yes, I'm right. Fantastic. Checking to see if I have anything that will cure hallucination, only to realise that I don't know what cures hallucination. So I just move on. Take the spellbook absent-mindedly, but then realise I actually don't want the spellbook because I'm not going to read it anyway. So drop that and kick it down the stairs contemptuously. Gained a level. I decide to go for an extra weapon of an extra level of weapon knowledge. And believe it or not, I made that same flub in my speech when I was actually recording it live. I want to go for an extra weapon of this skill. Have a look at this and think, I'm not that bothered about identifying the quality of the weapon, but I'd quite like to get level 3 here, being able to appraise weapons. I don't think I've ever done that, so I'd like to be able to. I briefly consider checking out this spinning cube priest here, but as I approach the altar, notice these messages that all pop up. Some items glow and some emit dark clouds, which suggests that just being here is actually identifying my cursed and blessed items. So I think I have a look in my inventory to confirm this. Yes. And notice the ring is now marked as blessed. So yes, it has actually identified my cursed and blessed items. Worth knowing. I didn't know that was a thing that happens in these little chapels. But again, oh yes, that's right. I decided to put on the blessed bronze ring since I know at least I can take it off. But unfortunately, I don't identify its effects. So I decided to just leave it on the assumption that its effects will probably at least not be harmful. Considering the scrolls, decide to leave, and then dither a bit. Shall I speak to the priest? Now I have over 600 gold here, and since I generally don't buy anything from the shop, I decide that I'm going to actually buy this Prayer of Protection, because survivability is the main problem that I have in WazHack. I think it's probably the main problem everyone has. So, I decided it was worth the investment of 400 gold, considering I'm unlikely to use that 400 gold for anything else anyway. Missed the potion. Did actually press F as I was running past to pick it up, but it didn't work. Don't need the helmet, I already have a good one, but I am going to try the mushrooms, since I should be getting hungry soon. It's a bit of a gamble, and it's a bad gamble because they make me ill. Fortunately, I do have an apple, so I can de-poison myself here. But it's not worth hanging on to mushrooms that are just going to be toxic whenever I eat them, so chuck them on the floor. I'm being held up by this dwarf. Give me your wallet! So I decided to try out my wands here, but I realise I actually have to unequip my second weapon before I can use a wand, which is irritating. The dwarf archer is a terrible shot. But what I'm thinking here is someone asked in the comments recently that I identify wands in the same way that I do scrolls. Unlucky. In the same way that I identify scrolls and potions by just trying them out when I get the chance. The thing with wands, of course, is you need something to try them out on. Yeah, polymorphed that enemy into something worse, so I decided to polymorph it again in the hope of turning it into something weaker, successfully. Yeah, so I'm making an effort here to try and identify all these wands, since I've been asked to do so. With wands, of course, that means actually shooting them at stuff, whereas with potions and scrolls, you can just drink them or read them to identify them. I suppose I could shoot myself with a wand, but that is clearly not going to be a good idea. So, re-equipping my weapon here, I think. I don't want to wield another short sword in my left hand. I don't know if that would work in WazHack, but my gut feeling is I need to equip a... Oh yes, I've just picked up a broad short sword here, and I'm not sure if it's better than my previous one, but I decide to assume it's probably going to be. Of course, equipping it without knowing whether it's cursed is a gamble, but I had no way of identifying it. Yeah, I've apparently decided not to equip my dagger in my second hand there. Yes, what I was saying is, I don't know if this is true of WazHack, but the Knights of the Old Republic games left me with the gut feeling, which is true in those games, that you need to equip a smaller weapon in your offhand in order to be effective. Even in Knights of the Old Republic, that's not essential, but wielding two full-size weapons makes you less accurate, and therefore less effective. So I think I've been left with a persistent feeling that that's going to be the case here as well, whether it is or not. I don't want that thing to explode and cover me in poison gas, so I decide to indulge in some archery. It's annoyingly fiddly, though, because I have to unequip all weapons and then equip both the bow and the arrows. And as you've probably noticed in previous videos, sometimes it refuses to equip your arrows, even when you select them the first time. So here we go. Managed to score a good hit. I think this is probably because I went with high dexterity, or the highest dexterity I could get when I rolled up this character. And now for some reason my dagger is suddenly identified as a -1 dagger. I didn't know that before, but there you go. Suddenly I know. Okay, so just hack through that lichen, whatever. This is yellow mould, so not a big deal. The spider on my head is a bit of a deal. Is that even a way to phrase things? Something's not a big deal, it's just a bit of a deal. I don't know. But that's my morning sort of phraseology. Alright, giant ant is a bit worrying. And I was a little confused and concerned by the way I seemed to be alternating hacking at him with the short sword and stabbing him in the face with the dagger. I've never noticed that before. But I was deliberately slowing down my combat there because a couple of people have asked me to. Pointing out that it's dangerous to just... See, it didn't equip the arrows again. So annoying. Yeah, a person or two have pointed out that it's dangerous to just wade into combat really quickly. What I was doing there was getting away from that spider so I wouldn't keep taking hits while I was shooting the acid blob. The acid blob, someone has mentioned, is not the one that corrodes my gear, but still, I don't want to stand close to it. I'm not convinced that that's the case, but someone has said that in the comments. Have to hack through the web here, and of course spiders come out, and these ones are bad. It immediately poisoned me. Fortunately, I think I have an apple to get rid of the poison. Of course I have to unequip one of my weapons if I want to use a wand. So I'm looking at the stuff I've got here. I threw a potion at it in the hope that it would be paralysis or something, but it wasn't. So I run away, almost dead from the poison at this point. And I'm thinking, I really need to start wielding a wand here. I don't have anything else that's going to help me immediately. Maybe I can teleport away with a teleport scroll, but I don't know if I have one. So, looking through all my stuff, thinking, nothing here is going to help me. I do drink a healing potion, but immediately offset it with the poison damage. Eat the apple to get rid of the poison. Should have done that first, in hindsight. Immediately get re-poisoned, and this time have no way of getting rid of it. So try out my wand. It does help, but it might not be enough. Come on. So close. But then there's the other one behind it, so I'm feeling pretty much fucked at this point anyway. So I try out some scrolls in the hope that one of them will be a teleport. That's magic mapping, which is not what I'm looking for at all. What about this one? No. Insultingly, a scroll of identify. And what a disappointing way for Ricari the Errant's run to end. We got 435 feet, which isn't terrible, but it's certainly not great. There was nothing spectacularly impressive in our pockets at this point. We had both ends of a portal stone, so we had a blue one and an orange one, so we could have used a portal to get away had we known that, but we didn't. There's the skeleton key that I kept forgetting about. The blessed ring that we tried on was actually a ring of hunger, so presumably it was making me more hungry. So my assumption that its effect probably wouldn't be bad was incorrect. But that amulet of life-saving, if only I'd known. If I'd tried out that scroll earlier and identified that amulet, then this run could still be continuing. So frustrating sometimes. But that's that for our inventory. The video's still pretty short at this point, so I decide to try again. New night. Since I felt like that run was going fairly well, I whip up another night here. Excuse me while I just have a sip of my morning tea to try and get my brain to function. So, I'm unhappy with the dexterity every time I select the knight here, so I'm trying to adjust his stats, but it won't let me add more points to dexterity, so I keep re-rolling him a bit, and then eventually realise that I think the knight may be capped at a maximum dexterity of 13, because it never goes higher than this when I roll him up in this way, and it won't let me assign extra points even if I take them out of another stat. So, I just kind of have to settle for dexterity of 13. It takes me a little bit of experimentation to resign myself to this reality. But here we are, it's about the best we can hope for. At least we've got good strength and tolerable constitution. So Johann the Just plunges into the dungeon. And he looks so bare without a helmet and a second weapon. We're finding scrolls and potions straight away, which isn't bad. And the scroll straight away is a potion of a scroll of identify. So we identify the gem, which is useless, the potion, which is sickness. So not feeling too great about that batch of items right off the bat. Finding a key straight away is actually not bad. I also feel like I'm fighting incredibly slowly at this point. After upgrading our dual wielding skill to the maximum in the previous video, I feel like the speed we gained there now makes this guy feel incredibly sluggish. I've decided to go dual wield again with this run because I was enjoying that the last time round. And since the knight doesn't start with a shield like the Valkyrie does, dual wielding feels like a fairly effective thing to do with his second hand. Don't want to think about other effective things he might be doing with his second hand. We made the jackal levitate here. The sight of a flying dog just made me laugh. The reason I'm not actually dual wielding yet is I want to wait until I can get a level of the dual wielding skill before I subject myself to that. Because I think you get reduced accuracy or reduced speed, if not both, when you're dual wielding. So you really need to get the appropriate skill to offset that. Okay, getting quite lucky with the meat here, but you know, meat luck is not necessarily the main thing you look for in a WazHack run. It is important, considering the number of times I've suffered with hunger problems in this, but I don't feel like hunger is always going to be a make or break in the same way that things like good armour or good wands or potions will be on a make or break. If you get a load of healing potions, that could make or break a run. And it's true that finding no food at all could break your run. But just sort of toddling along with a bit of food here and there, or more food, or a bit less food, you know, isn't going to either save or damn an otherwise successful or unsuccessful run. I didn't intend to employ the phrase save or damn there, but it's accidentally artfully lifted from the Tom's Covenant novels by Stephen Donaldson. Among my favourites, I might add. So, what I'm doing here is basically identifying some more stuff, because I realised that all the scrolls I've picked up at this point are identify scrolls. So I'm identifying everything. I want to put a helmet on, so trying out the helmets I've just identified. And I decided to go for the telepathy one rather than the brilliance one, because I'm actually not clear on what brilliance does. My guess would be maybe it bumps intelligence a bit, but I'm not sure. But I did know what telepathy does, so I decided to opt for that one. Considering weapon knowledge, but decided to go for dual wielding instead. And then of course I'll need to equip my second weapon. But I picked up a dagger for that very purpose. Fortunately, it's not cursed, just checking that. Some more scrolls and some more meat. Definite meat luck with this run. Boots. Combat boots, which sound a little more impressive than the mud boots we picked up a couple of minutes ago. Took a lot of damage from that green mould, which is always disheartening. It's difficult to feel like an awesome, mighty adventurer when you're taking damage from a blob of mould. So I have a load of potions to try out here, and I decide to start lobbing them at this acid blob. But the potion of choking hits my dog on the ass instead. The damn puppy just ran straight in front of the potion of choking. What a berk. I'm glad I at least didn't identify that one by drinking it, though. So, the white potion. Take my white potion! Which, in retrospect, is a disgusting way of phrasing that. I do manage to heal the blob, or the mould, which isn't great. But now we hack it up. The puppy dies, discouragingly, and the mould actually kills me. Apparently the green mould splashed acid on me. I didn't know that was a thing that green mould could do, but there you go. It did. Burnt my head right off. A mere 135 feet down in the dungeon. I was glad I didn't take a gamble on putting that amulet on. After what happened with the life-saving amulet in the last run, I was tempted to just put it on and hope for the best, but it was strangulation, so good that I didn't. And there was nothing else particularly helpful there that would have made a huge difference to surviving my encounter with the green mould. So anyway, that wraps it up for today. Come back the next time. Hopefully, I won't accidentally delete my commentary track. So return then to see if I do. Thanks for watching as always, and bye for now.